Yeah, Kevin, listen. Right after work, right after the shift, I'm gonna post this video real quick. Me and you at the court, all right? What? No. Yeah. We'll go to 11. Ones and twos, twos behind the arc. You know I got the Steph Curry shot. Oh, hello there, and welcome back to another HTML part of the series. This is a full stack course where today, again, we are adding to the pretty basic HTML. In order for us to actually create any websites, we need to be able to cover the actual basics. So again, the stuff that we're working on right now, it's not going to look professional, but you will be able to get to a professional status. Okay, so today we are working with actual images. We're going to add maybe one or two images to the actual page, and then you'll be able to add that new element to your particular list. All right. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's all make sure that we have our Visual Studio Code installed and actually up on the screen. As you can see behind the wonderful image and video of me right here, you can see I have it already opened up to the left, and I was actually practicing a little bit to the right, so let me just close that real quick so we can actually start from scratch. Okay. All right, it's closed, and we're at pexel.com, so we'll be able to actually get some free images right over there. So let me just close this up. And down to the mouse. Okay. All right. So once again, we are working with images for today. Give yourself a second to open up Visual Studio Code. And you'll also notice, again, I have pexel.com opened up to the actual right. Just maneuvering my mouse over here, and let's see what we got here. We are working with images. If you go to pexel.com, this is where you can always get free images, so you don't have to worry about getting sued or anything like that. And let me just close this for now. Actually, we'll just leave it here. We're going to create a new file, and the name of that file, we're going to call it, we'll just keep it simple. That's not done. We'll call it images. And of course, you already know what the extension needs to end in. If we are working with any HTML file, it needs to end in HTML. Okay, and for our boilerplate HTML markup, if you're using Visual Studio Code, you can actually put an exclamation mark, press enter, and now we have a boilerplate HTML markup page. And again, today we're working with images. So for the title, within the title element, we're going to add the actual text, which will show up in the tab. And today we're just going to call it image testing. All right, and let's open this up in Live Server so we can actually see our changes going up there live. And close this, and the images.html page is opened up to the right. And you'll also notice the image testing document, actually the image testing title right within the actual tab. And let's see, I believe last video series we covered a number of different elements. You are familiar with the P tag for the actual paragraph, but because the paragraph actually has its own dedicated line, we're going to add our image within that first. So let's start with that. Visual Studio Code allows you to just simply type in P, press enter or tab, and now you have your paragraph element. And I'm going to add an actual image in there, and that element is going to begin with img for image. So if I type img and press tab or enter, now to the right of that you're going to notice the source. The source is where we actually have our actual images saved. So what I'm going to do, usually when you're working with any type of images, you want to create an image directory because you just don't want them all laid out within the actual folder. So within Visual Studio Code, instead of the new file, we're going to go to new folder. So I'm going to type in, actually click that, and the name of the folder or directory is going to be called images. And now what I can do is go over to pixel.com, which it looks just like this. All right, and from here, what we can do is actually put in any type of, or actually search for an image that we want. I'm going to search for birds. Okay, and you can use any image that you would actually like, but today we're just going to use birds, keep it nice and simple. I'm going to click on the first image here, and I'm going to right click. Now I'm going to save that, and when I do save that, oh, actually, I forgot earlier, I actually saved this one. So here I'm in the actual, oh, let's go to the actual images directory. Here we go. And I'm going to save that image as bird. I'm going to save it as bird1. Okay, and we're going to add about, I think, 2 or 3. Let's add a bird. Let's get another bird. Here's one. This one will work. I'll right click on that, save it. I'll save this as bird2. And what these are saving as, they're saving as JPEG files, so JPEG. You may see a number of different extensions for actual images. It might be a JPG or a JPEG or a PNG file. So there's a number of different extensions for actual images, but we'll actually cover that later on in the actual course. Let's get one more image. I'm going to look for a deer. Let's see, so I'm going to type in deer, enter. And this one is perfect. Right click, save image into the YouTube channel /images directory. And I'm going to save that as deer. All right, so now we have our actual images that we're going to work with. If I open up in Visual Studio to the left, if I open up this directory, the images, you'll see that there are 3 images, bird1, bird2, and deer. I'll close that, but now in the source, what we're going to want to do is add the first image. So for the source, we're going to go to the images directory and /, and if you notice again in Visual Studio Code, this editor makes your work pretty seamless. You'll notice that the 3 optional images within the actual directory are actually in the folder itself. I'm going to choose the first one by just pressing tab since it's already highlighted. Okay, and we have the image. It's taking up all of the screen. There's no layout to this, but again, that's only because this is bare bones basic tools of HTML before we can actually create general websites. So what we want to do next is we can make an alt. The alt text is pretty much if your image does not show up, you still want screen readers or someone to know exactly what is actually showing up. So let's just put image of a bird. Okay, and so we can actually get this image a little bit smaller. I'm going to add a width right within the actual image element. So this is going to be a width attribute, and we're going to make it, we're going to use the unit of pixels, but we just have to put the actual number itself. I'm just going to go make it have it a width of 100. And now we can see the actual image, which is nice and small. And we'll keep the height. It might mess the image up a little bit, but we're going to make the height 100 pixels as well. Okay, so we're going to leave it at that. And let me close this on the side. Again, in Visual Studio Code, you can simply hit the Explore document button. Now we have more screen real estate so we can actually see more of the code itself. All right, so we have our first image there. Not bad, not bad at all. Again, it's bare bones, but let's add some more to it. Let's add some actual text around it. So what we can do here is you can type in anything you want. I'm just going to type in, there are so many birds here in Boston. All right, and so you'll notice the text showing up to the right. All right, there are so many of them. Now what I'm going to do is select that just so we can get some additional text. All right, now we have the additional text that we want, and we have the actual image itself. And just to make life a little easy, I'm going to select the entire paragraph with the image source in there with the actual text. Selecting it with using the mouse. ending at the P element, Control C to actual copy, and Control V to paste. And then we're just going to make life a little easy and change the image from bird 1 to bird 2. And if you notice, the bird 2, it has the same dimensions as the previous one, width of 100 and a height of 100. You would never pretty much add the attributes for the width size for the actual images itself. We would do that using CSS, but again, you might see this in the field, so it's good to see it now. Okay, and a small little thing I'm going to, and this is a deprecated attribute here. Deprecated meaning that it's no longer used anymore. So this is actually we're going to try to align this to the right. And now the image is now floated all the way over. It's aligned to the actual right. All right, so we have the image to the left with some text. We have an image to the right with some text. Yeah, you're not going to go on and sell this to anyone, but you now know how to add the text, add the image, create an actual directory for wherever you want to store the actual images itself. Use Visual Studio Code to tab over to the actual, well, it actually showcase the images that you have. We do have a third image here, so let's go below here. Add another image, IMG tab or IMG enter. And we're going to add we need to go to the images directory, and we then need to go down. I'm just pressing the arrow key down to deer. And here we are. We now have the deer. We're going to actually make sure we adjust the alt text just in case the image for some reason did not show up. And of course, Google searches, we can actually come up, you'll actually see the actual alt text. So there's a number of different reasons why the alt text is very, very important, especially for screen readers itself. So let's put in, this is a picture of a deer. Deer, if I can spell it right. There we go. And again, changing the width and sizes of the actual images, we would be using CSS for that, cascading style sheets. We do not have that attached to this document, but we are going to do that at a later date. But for now, let's actually add it directly. So width is going to be, let's say 200, and the height is also going to be 200 as well. And you know what, let's make that a little bit bigger. Let's go with 600. And so you're noticing the image itself, it's definitely starting to get a little nasty. You usually just want to leave them as is, and pretty much you can shrink these based off of percentages. But for now, we're just going to be a little lazy with it, and bam, we have our image there. Okay, and what we can do here, let's see here, let's add this. I guess we can go on ahead and add this. Usually when you have any type of image, it's usually associated with some type of text. So let's actually place this within another element. It's a HTML5 element called figure. And we're going to take the actual image itself, select it, and cut it, and paste it. There we go. There we go. So now we have it right here in the actual middle itself. And let's add a little bit of caption here. We're going to usually wouldn't use this as well, but we're going to use it here because there's a lot of older HTML that is still out there. Believe me, you are going to bump into it. And let's see. So the BR is pretty much going to break. It's just going to break the line. And so it's going to give you a dedicated line. We're going to add some caption to the actual deer. This way the caption is associated with the actual image itself. So, and that element is going to be fig caption. And then we're going to add the actual text that we want here for the deer. Let's go with a groovy picture of a deer. A groovy picture of a deer with a wonderful background. And there's our text that's associated with the actual deer image. And that is pretty much it, everyone. We have 3 images on here. We have some text on here. We're starting to utilize additional well, actually, we didn't use the actual heading, but you know what? Let's add it up at the top. You know, we can do that. H1, enter a small page with animals. on it. There we go. And look at that. Looks like something from the 80s, but again, it's bare bones essentials. You need to know how to add an image. You need to know how to add the actual paragraphs. You need to know how to associate some actual text with an image. Okay. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Again, this is bare bones stuff. A lot of this stuff is going to look ugly. We will prettify it. Believe me and you, we will prettify everything. It will look like we will create actual web pages from scratch, and just continue to be patient. Continue to apply these to existing HTML pages that you can actually do. Create a directory for yourself and add images. Go to pexels.com. You can look them up online. You can look them up here. Let's see. And other than that, continue to subscribe. If you want to know when new material comes out, hit the notifications bell. That way you'll be able to get notified as to when material is updated to the actual channel, in which I am pretty much on a regular basis for now. Definitely just adding, and I'm definitely always adding something in once a week. But with the time on our hands during everything that's going on, why not continue to add? Plus, there's a number of you that have said, look, I want to see more. I want to see more. When will we get to mobile applications and layouts and the front end and the back end? This is the part where you got to say to yourself, okay, I got to crawl before I can walk. Okay, full stack out, and please move on to the next playlist or subscribe and hit the notifications bell. Full stack out.